Welcome to the Wager Makers Podcast with Webb and Smitt.
Brick by brick, baby. I'm freaking out, Webb.
I was told there'd be no man. Stupidity's going to be an answer.
Hello, my name is
What a
Steve
bunch
Smith,
of
and this is
crybabies.
Rob Webb. Say hey, Webb.
Well, hello. What's up, Smitt?
What up, buddy? I'm Smitt. That's Webb, and we are the Wager Makers, and this is the Wager Maker Podcast. Thank you all for joining us. This is already Wager Maker Podcast. It's almost been a year now. This is Wager Maker Podcast number 44, Webb.
44. Time flies when you're having fun, Smitt. A lot of activity on the number 44. A lot of people chiming in.
A lot of 44s. We got the boys going in a big group text. We came up with a bunch of numbers. Obviously, a lot of 44s. You think about fullbacks. You think about some great baseball players. You just think about stocky, hard-hitting fullback, hard-head mofos out there that are running number 44. I want to send a quick thanks out to, we had a lot of people from Freehold listen last week. I even got my, for that reason, I got the Colonials, Freehold Colonials football jam on. I don't know if you can see that or not. Thanks to George Burge. Even Megan Conover shot us a little note saying, don't forget Brandon Conover was number 44 for the Freehold Colonials. I want to also throw out Bink. Eric Oddie was number 44 for the Freehold Colonials too. Brandon was a little after us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. There you go. Some other 44s. Who do you? Hank Aaron, I think, was the consensus. I know there's some John Riggins out there. Reggie Jackson, I think you might have forgotten.
Reggie, Mr. October. Mr. October, you can't get this show over without talking about him a little bit. I still feel bad about forgetting about Mariano at 42, so you got to give Mr. October some love at 44.
Yeah, those were the first two that came to mind, were Reggie Jackson and Hank Aaron, and then Brian Bosworth's another one, and then one we forgot. We forgot that my big ace in the hole was George Gervin, the Iceman, number 44 on the San Antonio Spurs back in the day.
Right, we even threw out old Robert Newhouse of your Dallas Cowboys back in the day, plowing away for your boy Tony Dorsett back in the day.
That's right. And then Matt Doherty was number 44 for the Tar Heels on the 82 team as well.
All right. Got some 44s. Bink, Conover, got some Freehold people. Got some Hank. I think Hank Aaron certainly
He's got to take the crowd. Yeah.
He's the number 144 we got. No doubt. I'm all about Yankees. I'm all about Mr. October and coming through in the clutch. But Hank Aaron, he was a little before our time. I think he probably wrapped up his career. We were probably like 6 or 7 years old, somewhere in there. But you still see those videos of him hitting that big home run for the record, and dudes running out of the crowd, slapping him on the back and shit like that. I can see that shit right now.
Right. Yeah. I don't remember seeing him play at all, so I guess he was definitely before.
Right. I looked it up today. I think he wrapped up the long career, a lot of years played, and I think he wrapped up his career somewhere 76, 77, 78, something like that. So we were young.
Yeah, I do have some memories, I think, from some of the guys. Skrimsky, I think I remember seeing, and some old Yankees. Lou Piniella, I'm not sure when they ended, but I don't have any.
I remember some of the Yankee greats from that 77, 78 time frame. Certainly, I can name off half of that team back in the day. Craig Nettles and the boys, and Mickey Rivers and Chambliss and Bucky Dent and George Thurman Munson,
Mickey Rivers.
Yep, Willie Randolph. Yeah. I mean, it's almost goes all the way around a diamond.
Still too, yeah. And I don't even a Yankee fan.
Did you see? Speaking of, since we're running into baseball real quick, you might have some new owners looking into the ownership of your Mets up there.
No, I didn't see that.
A-Rod and J-Lo are looking into
is that what it was?
buying the Mets.
They wanted to buy a team. It couldn't be any worse than the Wilpons.
Right.
Wilpons get thrown in the same boat as Dolan to just take the money and run, do nothing for the. They're still crying about what's his name, Bernie Madoff, fucking Wilpons.
So they'll at least add a little excitement up there, maybe like I don't know.
Why not?
When the Brooklyn Nets got bought up by what the hell's the name? So anyway, we're excited, man. We finally, we've been talking a lot of bullshit. You've had to endure. I appreciate everybody coming back and listening. You've had to endure my guitar playing and my sobbing about Saints and Katrina and all kinds of other bullshit. We finally got some shit to talk about this week, Webb.
Yeah,
it's not
a little bit.
We're usually more into games between the lines, but hey, it's the NFL draft. We'd be excited about this anyway. Everybody's team is at 0-0. Big news today with the Buccaneers. We'll get into that. But obviously, NFL draft, Webb. What do you think about that?
I'm excited. It's usually, I usually like it. It's one of those things. It's like watching golf. You kind of lay on the couch, fall asleep for an hour, come back, check, you kind of follow up, see what's going on. I went to a draft back in the day when Keyshawn Johnson was picked. It was at the Garden. Madison Square Garden. It was with Kredensky, actually, one of your boys. And It was horrible. It was horrible. It's like punching yourself in the balls for like 10 hours.
Long day, huh? Long day.
Yeah, and there was no gambling on it back then. So this is why I think I sent you that thing that this is the most any amount of money has been wagered on the NFL draft ever. And my response is, well, of course, first of all, second of all, has there ever been any wagering on the NFL draft in the past? So that's interesting.
Right. They're making up stuff now. They're gambling on the NBA Y2K. They're showing ESPN games. They're showing even Stephen Doe reached out to us the other day and said that what do we think about them betting on the Madden? They're doing Madden football, like just computerized games and having gambling on that and stuff like that. Crazy.
Yeah. We can't do anything to Madden. They're doing the same thing with the baseball. There's a similar game, baseball. They have bets on here, and there's always been esports. Esports has been on our sheet here since it started. So that's another bizarre thing. I was clicking through the channels the other night, and they were playing. I don't even know what it was. I guess Call of Duty or whatever. I guess you can somehow gamble on that. That's out of my realm, but we're getting desperate times, Smitt.
Yeah, right. So at least we got the NFL draft. Like you said, I saw the same article you did. It said in New Jersey, prop bets for the draft is like way out of the box ahead of where it's ever been in the past. And even with a week to go, it's already surpassed everything that they could do.
I got 3 in, I think, so far, 3 or 4 in. I'm going to do another couple more. I'm excited for this. As excited, I think, maybe as I've ever been since back in the day, since Jimmy Johnson was coaching the Cowboys. So, I can't wait till Thursday. And I actually kind of like how they break it up a couple of days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I was pretty down about it going in, like about a week or two ago. I'm like, yeah, the draft's starting, but who gives a shit? We don't know if we're going to have games, how it's going to be played, if there's people in the stadium, out the stadium, whatever. But the more I started looking into it and getting ready for today's show, man, I'm kind of pumped up, Webb.
I'm excited. And there is professional sports to gamble on. I looked today just before there's baseball in Taiwan and South Korea. I read an article on ESPN, the app, and there's a couple of guys over there that were pitching the majors actually last year that are pitching in that South Korean league. And so they're playing, no one in the stands. And then Taiwan has basketball as well. So there is some professional somewhere in the world, at least, there's something going on if you're that desperate. I have been known to place a Mexican baseball bet here in the day, me and dude. So you never know. So if someone's got a hot pick on the Taiwan league, on a Taiwanese league, let us know. And then actually someone called me up, or someone sent us a joke about the Nicaraguan soccer league too. I almost pulled the trigger on that if I could find it. They made up a team I couldn't find. It's a good thing.
It's way down the bottom of your list there when you're scrolling down.
Yeah, I would have pulled the trigger, believe me.
All right. So we're looking forward to this. A big night. Like I said, a draft, Webb. I'm stepping up to the big guns. I've been drinking Corona and other bullshit beer. I'm stepping up, Webb. I'm stepping up.
Oh, there it is.
Doing a little maker.
That's it.
I got to admit, I tried this. I broke it open already the other night. I tried it out. You know me, I'm more of a shot and a beer guy. Beer and a shot mostly. And so we've had our days where we had plenty of Maker's Mark and stuff like that. And special occasions usually.
Break it out.
And
right.
But the thing is, so I tried the other night thinking, oh man, this is going to be really good and shit. Man, I'm not much of a whiskey drinker, just on the rocks. It kind of hurt me. So
that's
I was
all right.
I was sitting in the back, jamming on my guitar. I figured out, I'm going to pour some Maker's Mark and shit. And then, man, it's gross. It's gross, man. It's gross. And that's why I usually just drink beer and then I suck it back. The shots. I never really
6 or 8 beers. It'll start tasting.
Who wants to taste this shit? Hold on.
It's good, man.
Number one, I want to show I'm a professional in case the endorsements come around. Hold on.
That's right.
Well, we're going to try this again. Take two. Well,
all right,
check it out. Special occasions. We got
just
the
for
Maker's
winners.
Mark. Oh, yeah. Check it out.
Crack open that wax. Hey, Breakfast of Champions.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's
special occasion. That's
football
special occasion stuff
Mark,
right
baby.
there. Oh, that's good.
Maker's Mark and sports gambling.
Yeah. Just want to show them a pro in case anybody out there wants to do some endorsements. I can make anything look good.
We are for sale.
Woo.
No doubt.
Put hair on your chest.
Oh, yeah. That'll do you right. It's when we need the winners. So we go to the Maker's Mark, everybody, when we're down Sunday night late.
All right. Well, we said this is a special occasion. We got the draft coming up. There's all kinds of draft props. Webb, people out there, you guys out there, I know you got a lot of you got the stimulus checks coming in. You got that $1,200. You get $600 a week. You get the unemployment. All that shit. Yeah. That only goes so far, Webb. The stimulus.
You gotta add. You gotta supplement that income.
Yeah,
you gotta supplement
just the seed.
That income.
It's the seed.
That's right.
You gotta plant the seed and let it grow. Webb.
Nurture it. That's right.
That's where the wager makers come in.
That's where we come in. Exactly. We will teach you to reap what you sow.
Yes.
No
Yes.
doubt.
So
It starts.
that's why we're here. We're going to take that 1,200. I don't know what you're getting, 600, 1,200.
Whatever.
You know, I mean, but man, you got to make it grow. This is the time.
You have to.
This is the time.
That's
You know,
right.
we have not lost a bet in, I mean, it's been like 3 months.
Yeah.
I think it's been 3 months since we lost a
long
bet.
time. We are on a roll. We are on a roll.
Ooh, we're fucking killing it.
On fire.
All right. So we're real quick before we get into the prop bets on the draft. I want to let everybody know big props out to the intern, Nick Perone tonight. He set us up on nfl.com, and there's a group on there called the Wager Makers Group. And we're going to do a little competition. You pick the whole draft. You pick each player. I don't know if you change teams or whatever. We're pretty much just going to go however their points go. First round. However their points work out, that's what we're going to use. And if you beat us, it's 3 of us. It's me, Webb, and Nick Perone, the intern. If you beat all 3 of us, which you just got to beat the best one of us, we got 3 chances.
Our best score, right?
If you beat us, and we'll even give a first, second, and third. If more than one beats you, we'll all give you a t-shirt and hat.
Right. There you go.
So we'll send you out a t-shirt and hat. If you beat us, go to nfl.com, sign up for their thing, and look for the Wager Makers. Also, I'll be putting links for the next couple of days on our Facebook page, so you can find us on there. I know Chad Arnold's always talking shit about how he knows more than us. My boy Scott Wheatley, the horseman out there, knows a lot of shit. He'd be good at this. And for anybody, you know, Marty Gollins sent us a good little text the other day saying he enjoyed the show. Our first thing. We had a lot of love from Freehold last week. We really appreciate it. We're probably going to have Herm Sorcher. He's the owner and GM of the Hat Tricks hockey team up
Danbury
there.
Hat Tricks, yep.
Up there in Danbury, Connecticut. And so we're going to have him on soon and see what it's like to actually own and be a GM of a professional sports team.
Yep.
And what they're going through and how they plan to get things back in action and what they had to go through. This was their inaugural year in hockey and doing real well. And they had to shut it down just like everybody else. So
they were off to the races too. They were off to a great start. And this just really, fucked them up.
Yep. No doubt. So like I said, take this with a grain of salt. You got your stimulus. We're gonna stimulate. We're gonna make it.
We're gonna stimulate the stimulus,
and then we'll go down what we think our draft picks are. I'll tell you who I think the Saints will pick. Obviously, Webb and the Cowboys. We'll go right straight down the draft pick. But let's look at the props first, Webb, because that's where we're gonna be making money at. So what did you see that jumped off the board at you at some things that we can help the folks make some money?
Yeah, I mean the first couple, I bet where Tua was going to get picked. I bet Miami was even. I bet Miami and L.A. Chargers on that, and then that was even money. And then I also bet who was going to pick Herbert, and I bet just the Chargers. That was even money as well. Those 2 were the first 2 that struck me. I'm in on those. And then I also something else I did earlier today was the defensive end from Penn State. This dude Gross Matos. I bet the over on him. He's going to go over is 27.5 picks. So I'm betting he's going to go 28th or later. There's a couple other ones I wanted to show you.
All right, that's the defensive end pass rusher kind of guy.
From Penn State.
So what were the picks you said? Slow down. Let's just so we can make sure we're on record here. It was where Tua is going to go and where Herbert was going to go.
Yep.
I saw Tua is even. I have him in my draft going to Miami.
Yep, that's what I got. I did for Tua to Miami and the Chargers. Both were even, and then I did Herbert to the Chargers, and that was even as well.
I have a feeling we might have a similar. Now that you said that, I think when we look at our drafts, we might have similar to that. I have Miami using their brain and taking Tua ahead of Herbert, and then the Chargers taking Herbert afterwards.
Yeah,
but I've heard some things saying Miami is very interested in Herbert. That might be one of those smoke screens you put out right before the draft. But we'll see what happens. All right, what else you got? Totally.
Let me. The other ones, a couple of them. I saw Christian Fulton. Speaking of your guys, his over under was 24.5. I think I'm going to go over that. I don't see him going. He could, but I would be surprised to see him. I had him kind of pegged as a late first, early second type of guy. And then I was going to go under on Joshua Jones. Sorry, I think he's a left tackle, whatever. It's from
USC, I believe.
Yeah, and I got him 25.5. I got him going before that. And then a couple other ones that I saw. I mean, I'll go through them all here in a second. But 15 and a half SEC players picked in the first round. I thought that was real interesting. I think I have 17 on my list here. So I'm going to probably go over. And then the other one that I liked is under 5.5 on Big Ten players in the first half. I got it at 4. So I'm going to go under that. And those odds were in the ballpark, less than 2-1 on those. So there's a couple on here that are some long odds that are real easy. Who's going to go number 1? But
right, but there's super crazy odds, and even they have Young going number 2 at some super crazy odds.
Yeah, you can't
not even worth playing with that.
The first one on there is 15 and a half offensive players. The over is -3.5, so there's some pretty heavy juice on the over. I do think it's going to be more offensive players taken than defensive, but I'm going to stay away from that just based on that juice. The defensive players is 15.5 too, and the under's got the extra juice on it, under 15.5. I'm going to stay away too. Just it's -170. I don't have a feeling either way. There could be a run there at the end of the first half. I'm thinking on some of those cornerbacks, so not worth it at the -170. Interesting one here. Quarterbacks, number of quarterbacks taken. Over is 4.5. Heavy juice on the under. -900. So 9-1 on the under. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go. That's a decent bet. But who would you think the fifth quarterback would be? Would it be Fromm or Eason?
Well, or the Alabama, Oklahoma kid. What's his name?
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that's the only one I could think of that might. I don't think Fromm or Eason is going to be in a first round pick. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think 4.
And I don't think the other one is. I like the under. I like the under on the quarterback bet.
Yeah. That's just too big of odds. You got to stay away from that. How many running backs round 1? Over 1.5. Got some heavy, like under 1.5 is over at that -1,000. I'm over, 10-1. You can't bet that. I think maybe Swift will go. I got him going in the first round. I'm going to stay away from that one. Here's one that's 5.5 for wide receivers drafted in the first round. The over is 2-1. So that one may take a shot. It's going to be at least 4, right?
Right. I mean, Judy, Jefferson. They're talking about
Jefferson. You're at that's 4. That'd be 4, right?
Right.
Judy, Ruggs, Jefferson,
Ruggs,
and Lamb.
And some people talking about T. Higgins from Clemson possibly being in that first round. I like the under. I think usually for guys like us, we could pencil in this draft and probably take more wide receivers than we really. I think in the NFL and in a real draft, these guys know in the first round you take big bodies. Wide receivers, you can plug and play a lot of fast guys and get those in the second, third round. I think usually we end up seeing less wide receivers go than you initially think going in.
I think I actually had 5. I had the kid from Colorado going, so I did have 5. But I don't know. What's just
the number? 4.5.
4.5. Yeah.
I kind of like the under in that one.
I couldn't
just because of the thing I said. I think there might be 5 quality wide receivers, but I think they usually diminish in value.
You got to get this. I mean, you could get the 5. I mean, I don't actually know what I only had 5. I'm sorry, that dude was my 5th, so I don't have 5. That's one I think I'm going to go because that's some decent juice on the under. Under is +160. Is that when you maybe make some money on that?
Right. I like okay. So we like under wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm going to hit that one right now. Okay, now on to the next is offensive lineman drafted in round 1. The over 5.5 is -650. The under is +430. This is right there for me. I'm going to stay away from this one. If I was, I was Cowboy fan. I'm for drafting offensive linemen, especially tackles. And I think there's probably at least 5 of them that I have on my list here, and it wouldn't surprise me to see 6 or maybe a center even there at the end of the first round. So I'm going to stay away from that one.
Right. I got 6 in my mock draft offensive lineman, but that's hitting it pretty close,
Right. Yep. Not worth it. All right. Here's to my SEC players. Over 15.5 is +150. I am on that. I do like that. I think I have 17 total. And that's the last 3. I got the last 31 and 32 being Delpit and then DeAndre Swift going 32. And that got me to 17.
That's funny. We're pretty good because I just want everybody to know we didn't look at this together in any way or anything. I have Delpit going to the Niners at 31.
Yep, me too.
And I got Dobbins, the running back for Ohio State, going to 32. So we're on the same page there. What teams need and what they're going out in last pick. That's interesting.
Well, your pick there would knock out my next one. The Big Ten players, over under, same thing, 5.5. The unders plus 140. That's what I'm on. I have, I believe, 4 or 5 going. Definitely not 6, but I don't have Dobbins going first round.
Right.
I got the Penn State.
What's the over under on that one?
5.5. The overs minus 170 and the unders plus 140. I like the extra juice. I'm on the under there.
I might like over on 5.5 on the Big Tens because let's say I can look down. 2 of the first 3 or 4 picks is going to be Ohio State with Young and Okuda, the cornerback from Ohio State.
And then you got the Iowa lineman. That's
Wirfs. I got him. I got him in there.
3.
And then we mentioned the Penn State kid.
I got him, and that's it. I think that's all I have.
Okay, well, I got Dobbins, and I also got defensive end Espinoza from Iowa.
I have 5 actually. I have Zach Bond.
Right, and I didn't make him, but I also had Ruiz, the center guard from Michigan.
Yep.
So I don't know. Between us, we got some guys up there. Whether or not they make it up in the top.
Yeah, I'm at 5. I like. It's going to be down to that last.
Right. Right. So we'll skip that one. But we do like the even money type plays. Tua, either to the Chargers, but you can't do them both. You're not going to win them both. You're just going to.
Right. Well, I'm just kind of hedged on that one. Yeah. Right.
Tua to Miami.
What I'm hoping is Tua goes to Miami and Herbert goes to, and that way I'll win them. I kind of hedged. I'll go 2-1 on those 3 bets, and even money, so that put me in the black.
Gotcha. All right, and then like I said, in my mock draft, I definitely have more offensive players going than defensive, but the number minus 340 or whatever you got on there,
yeah, it's too much.
It's a little bit crazy. They do have some other props and bets on this one. I'm looking at that matches up conferences. For the first round, they got Big Ten. Well, this one even has Big Ten players versus Alabama players.
Oh yeah, I don't have that.
Which is kind of weird. And then they got Big 12 versus Pac-12. They got ACC. They even have an LSU versus Alabama one.
That's interesting.
And we can look at that pretty close. Obviously.
Well, they're both here in this one. I got Alabama players in the first round is 5.5. LSU players in the first round is 5.5. So that's just some juice on that. That's interesting.
Right. So this one here is showing so it's basically Alabama's minus 0.5.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically 115 to 125 or something like that for if you take LSU. But and when I counted them up, man, it's pretty damn close. But I think I have more LSU players, I have more Alabama players towards the top. But I think I have more LSU players altogether.
LSU, I got Queen, Chazon, Delpit, and Jefferson, I think. Who would I be missing?
And Burrow.
Oh, Burrow.
Right.
So that's 5. And then you got Judy, Tua, Ruggs.
Wilkes, the offensive tackle.
Yep, the tackle. And then McKinney, the safety. So I think that's 5 right there, right?
Yeah, I don't have McKinney in the first round of mine.
Yeah, so that's I got 5 and 5. But that's a good prop though.
Right. Here's one. There's another prop. It's got Clemson players versus Ohio State players in the first round. We just mentioned there's definitely going to be the first 2 of the first few players should be Ohio State. Clemson, obviously. So Ohio State's minus 0.5, and they're but plus 215, and Clemson's plus 0.5 at minus 340. I think Ohio State is going to have more players than Clemson. I know Simmons, that real good linebacker from Clemson, will be going. Also, I think they have a cornerback, Clemson, Terrell should be going. And then possibly, like I mentioned, Higgins, the wide receiver from Clemson. But that's about it. But we already mentioned, we got Young and Okuda right off the bat.
Bang, bang, yep.
Ohio State.
I don't see who else.
I don't see another one in there other than Dobbins, like I mentioned. So maybe that is a bet. That's why there is so much juice on that.
There. Yep. I saw something Clemson players 1.5 over 1.5 minus 475. So they're saying there's 2 players from Clemson going first round, which is probably, and then it's Ohio State players first round is over 2.5 plus 450. So you're looking at those 2, and that's probably it. So if you do like Dobbins there, you can make some money on that one. Plus 4.5.
Right. That's assuming Dobbins. That would mean two running backs get drafted. Hard to say. I do like The total defensive backs drafted in the first round is over under 6.5. Man, I really don't see that many DBs going in this round. There might be a couple corners and a couple safeties that are going, but I don't see this going over. But this is a big number also. I think it's minus 290 if you go under
6.5. I don't think I have that one on here. No, offensive linemen, wide receivers, running backs, and QBs. That's all we have on this. 6.5 is high. I would go under that.
Right. That's what I think. Definitely. So we're going under 6.5 in DBs.
And then Isaiah Simmons, I got his draft position as 6.5. I had him going higher than that. I thought that may be over 6.5. It's minus 160 though, so it's kind of some heavy juice, less than 2-1. But I was looking at that one. I didn't pull the trigger on that one yet. I got him going where later.
Yeah, I took him going number 9.
Yeah, that could be.
And it's really mostly, I think he's an amazing player, but I think it's mostly about what the team's needs are ahead of him. And with the quarterbacks going, 3 of the first 5-6 picks are going to be quarterbacks too.
Yep. I had him going at 12th. I got him going 12th, actually. Jordan Love, they got him 19. I don't know about that. The kid's tough with quarterbacks. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody reach on him. Especially maybe the Raiders have 2 picks before 19. They're talking about they really like him. I'm going to stay away from that. How about C.J. Henderson, 14.5?
Yeah, I got over that. That's the cornerback out of Florida.
Correct. Yeah, I had him.
Oh, you know what though? I have him on my board going 13 to the Niners.
All right.
So
I got him going 9th. I got him going 9th.
So we both think under. He's the best cornerback in the draft and really the only first round type cornerback. I think I got another cornerback.
Well, Octa's going. We got both have Octa going 2nd or 3rd, right?
Right.
Third. I was thinking about something. We'll talk about some crazy scenarios later. Just fucking the quarterback from the Lions. They got to get rid of him. Why don't they trade him? Why don't they trade him for somebody? He was the number 1 pick in the draft and that has 0 playoff wins. He doesn't even make the playoffs.
And they talk about him every year like he's just irreplaceable.
Right, Stafford. He makes 100. He was one of the first guys to get that huge contract. He's done dick. So I don't know. I mean that's a shot for them to trade to. I mean, there's 3 or 4 teams that would be looking for a quarterback, and then he is accomplished. He kind of cut that learning curve out if you would take somebody like that. So that could be a chance for Detroit to kind of, I don't know, become relevant at least. If they're going to suck, at least be relevant. And that division is getting ready to turn over.
Right.
Rodgers ain't going to play forever. Neither is Cousins. So you got a shot there. And who knows what's going on with the quarterbacks from Detroit. So they could, that's from Chicago, excuse me. So they can make a move. I was thinking about that earlier.
Right. Maybe they think because of the turnover, we'll stick with our old quarterback. We've been going through it all the time. But dude, I mean, if they never win, they never win. And
that dude has been through how many coaches?
Right.
4 or 5. I mean, you talk about some of the other guys as coach killers. This dude's been there. It don't matter. He's fucking John Gotti, this dude.
All right. So listen, make sure you guys get on NFL.com, fill out a thing of the wager makers. Check out our Facebook page, and we'll be getting a big competition going. If you can beat us, you get one of these cool ass hats.
Oh yeah, they're nice. They are nice for sure. Quality.
Web sporting a t-shirt. Web sporting a t-shirt right there.
Got it. Yep. Wager makers on the front and back.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got, Smitt? We got 4 or 5 picks here for sure.
Yeah, under on the wide receivers. Is that right?
I have, yes, yep.
How many? What's the number?
5.5 under plus 160.
Under 5.5 wide receivers plus 160.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, that's very good.
Over 15.5 SEC
players. Yep, and that's plus 150 too. That's a good one. And then I got under. I have under 5.5 Big Ten players. I think you passed on that one. That's plus 140. And then I have Joshua Jones on the under, Christian Fultz on the over, and then one other one. Oh, the defensive end over, Gross Matos.
Yep.
Over 27. And then I have the other bets I put in, the Herbert and Tua bet.
Cool. All right. Do you think anything else? I thought there was a couple of more things, but I might be missing shit.
Go through it.
There was what round? I saw one. What round was Jalen Hurts drafted in?
What are they giving you? It's
Uh,
not on here. These are limited.
yeah. They have a
I would
thing
guess
where
third or fourth, right?
round one is plus 1,000.
That ain't happening.
Ridiculous. And then round 4 to 7 is plus 600. So everything else is basically
Really?
out.
Jump on that.
Well, 4 to 7. You think he's probably going to go for 2 to 3, but maybe we can go round 4 to 7. He could drop.
I would. I mean, the top of my head, I would say fourth round.
All right. It might be worth a flyer plus 600. Why not?
Hell yeah.
So 4 to 7 for Hurts. Plus 600. Give
That's
that a shot. Put a little bit on that.
Yeah.
Put a little of that stimulus.
Stimulate that.
Put a little stimulus in there, up on that one.
All right. What else?
I don't know. I see one for over 2.5 SEC players in the first round. Oh no, ACC. No. Sorry, ACC.
Yeah.
ACC. I mean, we already talked about 2 Clemson
if you're going to get
players.
2 Clemson guys, who would be?
They have that offensive tackle out of Louisville.
Oh yes, yep.
But I think they just came out that he had some kind of issue with his drug test, but he was going to be like a top 10 pick.
Yeah, he ain't.
I don't think he's going to get out of the first round. So,
I'm more concerned about one of the other Clemson guys, but I have
3 of them in there. I have 3 Clemson guys in there. I got the defensive back and the linebacker and the wide receiver Higgins. Right.
Well,
so I got 4 possibilities. So I got 4 possibilities.
That's what you think. That's the easy winner because that Louisville kid is for sure going.
Right. Okay. So I like that. I like over 2.5 on
right.
the ACC players.
All right. So we need some Clemson love. Okay. Let me see.
Let me look at.
Oh no, I'm not. That's minus. The juice is way too big on that.
Minus 370.
I got minus 500 here. I'm going to stay away from that one.
All right.
How about Big 12 players? 3.5. Who we got from the Big 12?
I like that Murray, the linebacker from Oklahoma.
Murray, and then CD Lamb is 2.
CD Lamb. That might be all I'm seeing over here out of the Big 12.
I might have a line. There's no one of these linemen is in Big 12. Nope.
No, I don't see nothing with that.
That's interesting. I mean, that's that's just, is that a comment on the league? I wonder. I mean, and it's only 2, and they're both players from the same team. Right. So that's an indictment of that.
And it's 3.5, man. It's minus 135. I'm showing on here.
Yeah, that's what I got.
That's a pretty. So we're gonna go under a Big 12. 3.5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, me too. And then Pac-12 is 2.5. Is that what you got?
Yep. But under 2.5 is minus 200.
I got minus 155 here.
I mean, I don't even know where the hell they would get.
Where you're not getting 3.
Right.
I have 2. I got the receiver from Colorado and Herbert.
Oh, Herbert, right. And then I think there's a chance that there's an offensive tackle from USC, Jackson, but he might be fall down out of the first round completely.
Yeah.
Where's the Big 10? So Big 10 had 5.5.
Yep.
I might be forgetting. I put Winfield, Antoine Winfield Jr.
In the first
son
round.
of Antoine Winfield Jr. going to his dad's old team, the Vikings, in the first round. That might give us a little extra Big 10 people. That's 5.5 Big 10. That's a lot.
I'm on the under in the Big 10. He's not. I don't have him first round. He's not going first round.
Under 5.5. Big 10.
Yep.
All right, there you go. This is what we got for you guys, right? Under 5.5 wide receivers at plus 160. Are we going over 15.5 in SEC, right?
Yep, for sure.
That's plus 150. Under 5.5 in Big 10.
Yep.
You mentioned 2 to the Chargers, 2 to Miami, Herbert to Miami.
Yep.
Under 6.5 DBs, but we canceled that out because the juice is too much.
Yep.
We're going to give a shot at plus 600 for Hurts going 4th to 7th round. We're going.
That's a good one.
Not over 2.5 on ACC. We're going to skip that because too much juice. We're going under Big 12, 3.5 under.
Yep.
And that's what we got.
And then, I'm doing the Gross Matos thing. I'm doing the Christian Fulton thing, and then the Joshua Jones thing.
And I'm taking LSU over Alabama.
Okay.
Just because. Make some people happy down here.
There you go.
All right. You want to run through the draft real quick?
Let's do it.
All right, folks, for all you LSU fans out there,
go with a couple top ones would be pretty easy.
Right. Like I said, me, Webb, and Nick Perrone all put our own things in there. Mine's the one called the Wager Makers. His is Nick Perrone. Webb's got to put his on yet. He's had some technical difficulties. What's the problem over there with the technical difficulties?
I went on. I hit join, and it didn't. I put my information in, like to register, and then I hit enter, and it just put me back to the same screen.
It took me all of 5 minutes to get my shit. I thought you work at home on a computer and shit.
I did. I thought it would be an easy thing. I tried to get it done.
I'm a beer and cheeseburger salesman. I get on there, lock it down, fucking lock it up.
I didn't even see. And then when I did, I tried to use one of the ones that was on there, and it didn't even give me anywhere to, hit enter on my pick. So I don't know. I'll try it again tomorrow. But I have one here. I did one that's like a dummy here. That's going to be pretty close to my final.
All right.
But it will be on there prior to 8:00, whatever time it is on Thursday.
All right, so let's get right to it. Number one, I got Joe Burrow. You got anything different than that?
No, I don't think he's the best quarterback, but it just makes too much sense. That's more to lock. That's happened. You can be
a GM and screw up on that by taking Joe Burrow, but if you take somebody different and screw up, it costs you your job.
Yeah, you're fine. Just take Joe. Right, just do it and.
Nobody 5 years from now is going to say, I told you not to take Joe Burrow. They're going to, he took the safe guy. He took what everybody thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go number 2. I have Chase Young going to the Skins. That's the defensive end from Ohio State. I'm going to go on record right now as saying I don't think he's very good. People are talking about him like he's the next coming of something amazing. And I think, I don't know. I really think that the Skins should try and get a quarterback into a spot and build on Ron Rivera moving forward. But I think they're going to go with the defensive end because everybody acts like he's so good. I watched him in some of those playoff games when he was playing with Ohio State against Clemson. He really kind of disappeared in that playoff game, I thought, and some other big games. I'm just not a fan of this dude. Nothing personal. I don't think he's a number 2 pick, but what the fuck do I know? Be honest.
I agree on most of that. I don't think he's that good either. Obviously, we watch these games intently. I don't see him being that good. The hype on him is the hype machine is in full force. I was thinking about the Skins and a quarterback, but then Ron Rivera went and brought in Kyle Allen. So now they have Kyle Allen and the kid from Ohio State that they drafted. And then they also still have Alex Smith. So that's a lot of guys for one room. So I don't think I agree with you. I would draft a quarterback. I would take 2 if I was in, but I think the pick is going to be Chase Young. But I'm not sure that's the right pick for a couple reasons, like we just said. So,
all right, move on down. The Lions, they had the worst defensive against the pass last year in the whole NFL. I think they got a great cornerback sitting there. Like you said, you would like to see them wheel and deal with their quarterback and really get something going. But I'm going to go with Okudah, the cornerback from Ohio State. He's the best cornerback in the draft, and this will solidify their defense real quick.
It makes too much sense. They just got rid of what's his name, Willie Slay or whatever his name is. They sent him over to the Eagles, so it makes a ton of sense. I think that they could even trade this pick, depending if let's just say San Diego wants Tua and they're afraid that Miami's going to take him. They may be able to swap up to 3, and the Lions could go back and even still end up with the corner that they want and still get that pick. So that's what I'm thinking. But it makes too much sense. But again, I'm not sure that's what they need. That's just, I don't know what the fucking Lions are doing. So, but they're going to take Agda.
Right. All right. So moving on to the next pick, the Giants. Who you got for the Giants here?
It's another interesting one. If I was the Giants, I would certainly entertain trading this pick. Again, same scenario. If someone wants to get in front of Tua or Herbert, or maybe even Derek Brown, one of those guys, or one of the offensive tackles here. I do have him taking Wirfs from wherever the fuck he's from, Iowa. But I could see him taking. I mean, their defense is horrendous, but they seem to really like Dickie Dimes, so that they do need to protect them. They did have some investments in their offensive line. but none of them are as near as good as Wirfs. So if they got Wirfs, they got the quarterback and the running back. I think that's a decent start, but they got holes all over the place on defense. So Ogda wouldn't be a bad pick either if somehow he fell. The kid Simmons wouldn't be a bad pick either, I don't think, but they just need too many things, and they're just to get one side of the ball set up. So I'm going to go with Wirfs on this pick.
Right. That's funny. Not too many people have Wirfs going at the spot, but I have him going there as well. I think they want to protect Danny Dimes. And also, with Saquon Barkley back there, I think just a badass offensive tackle would be the way to go for those guys. Mentioning moving up and moving down in the draft, let's real quick. Just good to know. The Dolphins, man, they have riches in the first round. They got 3 draft picks in the first round. The Jags have 2, the Raiders have 2, and the Niners have 2, and the Vikings have 2. And then there's teams that are completely shut out. Pittsburgh doesn't pick till the second round. The Bills have 0 first-round picks. The Bears have 0. The Texans, the Colts, the Rams all have nobody a pick in the first round. So there will be opportunities. Some of these teams have a chance if they really like a player at number 3 or 4. The Dolphins, some of these teams with 2 picks could definitely jump up and snag them.
I mean, that's even said, I was thinking about those teams that had multiple first-round picks when I brought up the Stafford thing. Like, and all those teams you just mentioned certainly could use a quarterback. And it seems like Oakland's not happy with Derek Carr. So, I mean, and they got a bunch of draft picks too. So you could even maybe end up with Derek Carr and trade down a little bit or something like that in that Stafford scenario. I obviously I know it's not going to happen, but and then also with the Giants, I mean, you could trade down and still end up, you could drop to, I don't even know, 15, 16, 17, 18, and still end up with a stud left tackle. Right. So, and kind of marry him with Danny Dimes for the next 10, 12 years and still be happy and pick up somebody,
and you get another second, you would get another first round pick.
Exactly. So then you could even either, do a bookend thing or draft one of these receivers or get one of these stud defensive guys. So that's what I'd be looking if I was them. So
be a good move for the Giants to move out of the spot. No doubt. Okay. Moving on to the Dolphins. We know they're looking for a quarterback. There's been a lot of news about them really falling in love with Herbert. Me and you have let it be known who we think is a better quarterback out of these two. There's been questions about his durability and about his health, Tua. But I think I definitely like Tua in this spot to go to the Dolphins. I don't know that the Dolphins are going to do that. They'd probably be better off listening to me. We seem to be pretty much on this shit, man. I wanted to mention too. We talked last week about where the hell during this virus thing, where the hell's Jerry Jones at?
Right.
I mean, we weren't done with our podcast for 5 goddamn minutes before they said Jerry Jones and Dallas Mavericks dude is going to the White House to help get something going.
Dude, we were dialed in. We were right in the Oval Office.
I mean, it's like we're in the fucking Oval Office.
In all the pods. We have our hands everywhere, every pie.
Man, we were on that. I couldn't believe we just got done saying it. We're like, man, Jerry, you think Jerry Jones and some of these guys would be involved in this shit? Where the fuck they at?
Yep.
We also didn't talk about how this is going to be a fiasco coming up. This NFL draft with the it's going to be like your grandma with the VCR working when they're all trying to get on a Zoom and have a hard time hooking this thing up.
A couple of teams had an issue. The Raiders definitely had an issue, and one other team, maybe the Chargers, had an issue. And then I just saw today that the Lions are going to they're putting an RV. They're picking the whole IT team and parking them right in the driveway of the GM. Just in case some shit goes wrong. So at least they're taking, that's a number 3 pick. At least they're pulling out kind of all the stops. I mean, it's bizarre. It's just the whole world's fucking bizarre.
It's gonna be funny. They're gonna be like, with the 4th pick, the New York Giants, and it's some dude's gonna be like, "Can you see me? Hey, can you see me?"
Or he's just gonna stand there. Gonna freeze.
You guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
The fuck. Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of that going on. That should be pretty fun. I hope we get to see some of that fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna move on to the sorry ass San Diego Chargers. They finally got their
right. Tua's going to 5, right? I'm saying if I was, Tua should be the number 1 or 2 pick in this draft. Any other draft he probably would be if it wasn't for Burrow.
Right. So and the injury situation.
Yeah, but I mean, all these guys. Chase Young was injured. I mean, a lot of these guys had something going on. It's almost like in baseball, they're giving kids Tommy John in high school. So I mean, you play long enough, especially at the level most of these kids play, you're going to get some type of injury. And nowadays, an ACL ain't shit. So but I agree. I got you. That's the reason why I guess he's falling to 5 probably.
Right. So we'll go to number 6. The Chargers obviously looking for a quarterback to replace their no quarterback sneaking motherfucker, Phillip Rivers.
Yes, Phillip Rivers. Yep. Herbert. Yeah. And again, just makes too much sense. I don't know if they'd be interested in trading down a couple picks, which they probably could and still get Herbert, depending if someone wants one of these stud defensive guys that are coming up, or maybe a stud, left tackle. But pick Herbert would be the pick for sure.
All right, so that's how I got the same thing. I think they would take whoever is left between Tua and Herbert at
Correct.
that point. They're pretty much locked in where they have to choose a quarterback. I think. I don't know who their backup is up there, but maybe it's I was gonna say maybe the dude from the Bills or whatever, but
I don't. Yeah, I mean, they there's no reason they need a quarterback, and it's just they're gonna get a good one. I'm not down on Herbert. I think he's good. I think he was underutilized up there. I think he's better than what they showed. He's got more to offer than what Oregon did for him. So I'm a closet Herbert fan.
All right, so we'll move on. I got the same Herbert for them. Let's move on. Now we got the Panthers right here in the NFC South.
Now it can go almost anywhere. I got Derek Brown going here.
This can't possibly be. All right, I got Derek Brown, the defensive tackle for Auburn. The best way to defeat the Saints in that division is to get pressure up the face of Drew Brees, and this guy can do it. And that's why they're going to take a big old badass defensive tackle. They got their quarterback in Bridgewater. And interesting, though, this is the first-year coach, his first draft from the guy from Oregon that's coming over. No, Baylor. The guy from Baylor that's coming over.
Cool.
And so it'd be interesting to see if he takes a defensive tackle as his first pick. I don't know if he's got I think he's going to be one of those guys that's crazy about offense and going to take an offensive guy no matter what. But I did take I think the Panthers need some help up front defensively, and I'm going with the defensive tackle. Brown.
They just lost Gerald McCoy signed with the Cowboys. Not Terry Poe signed with the Cowboys. There were two inside guys that played for them. They have holes, I think, pretty much all over. They do have a quarterback. They got a good receiver. It's just too early, I think, to take a receiver or anybody like that. This is a good, solid pick. It's not splashy. The dude will be a stud. You're hoping for 10 years in the middle of your defense, which is always, start with the lineman in the interior. So I think it makes sense for a new coach to kind of start there. He could fuck around with the other stuff on the outside, later in the draft. But I think this is a good, solid, potentially, all pro, inside defensive lineman. So,
all right, moving on. Number 8, the Cardinals.
I went back and forth on this one. I went with Jedrick Wills, offensive tackle from Louisville.
No, I think Wills is the one from Alabama.
Alabama, right? I'm sorry, correct.
But we're on the same page. Go ahead.
He, that's going into last year. They had the worst offensive lines in the entire league. I think the worst before they drafted Kyler Murray. That was one of the things because he was so small. I'm sure they didn't get much better in 1 year. I'm not exactly sure what's going on in their offensive line. I heard a lot of talk about CeeDee Lamb here, but they just brought in DeAndre Hopkins. They already have Larry Fitzgerald, and they take the quarterback in the second round last year, and then also they have the Christian Kirk, who was a second round draft pick the year before. So that's a lot of guys there. Why not just take a stud? Like I said, here's a guy who protect Kyler Murray for the next 10 or 12 years. Seems like it just made too much sense, I think.
Yep, I agree. We're on the same page totally, except for I got a different guy. I went with Becton, the offensive tackle from Louisville.
Yep.
Here, I think it's a toss-up between those two. Maybe that shit with Becton having a weird drug test or whatever it was that came up just a little while ago would be enough to make Wills get up in front of him. But we're on the same page. It's time to protect Kyler Murray. If that guy is going to be your guy, you got to give him some protection. That's what he missed last year, was running for his life. And still did pretty good as a rook.
Right.
If you get him some protection, he might have a better year. But I had Becton, the offensive tackle from Louisville. So we're both on the same side as far as what those teams need.
Yeah, I don't know that, to be honest, I'm not sure the vast difference between any of those 4 or 5 left tackles. I read something about Becton where the guy ran a 4, whatever he ran into 40. But who gives a fuck? He's an offensive. He's not running. He's not a wide receiver.
What's he run a 3-yard dash at?
Right, exactly. How's he block? How's he block Chase Young in the playoffs or whatever? So that always kind of irritates me. But I don't want to get on the soapbox. So we made some sense there. So now we got who's next?
We got the Jags. Our boy Dirk Diggler Minshew.
Yes.
They kind of gave him the job here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know that they have anybody else. I don't have them taking a quarterback here. I would assume they take a quarterback at some point. I think they have more than one first-round pick. This is one of my candidates for Dickie Stafford. This may be where we kind of break up. They have holes everywhere. They just lost the dude they traded to the Rams, the cornerback. So I'm going to go with C.J. Henderson, the cornerback from Florida here. But they do have needs, certainly on defense.
Right. I kind of went the same way as you. I first started thinking about, well, if you got Minshew, maybe you put an offensive lineman around him, maybe a wide receiver. I think they could use a little bit. But I started thinking about what's the best player, and they got a bunch of holes on defense, like you see.
Yep.
So I went with the linebacker from Clemson, Simmons. This dude's like an outside backer, pass rusher, athletic kind of guy. Gets all over the
Swiss
field.
Army
Can do a
knife.
little bit. Yep. Can do a little bit of everything. I think the Jags could plug him in, and he can really make plays for them on defense, which is kind of where you were going with your pick too.
Yeah.
But I just went with that. So
yeah, that makes some sense to me. I wouldn't mind. I could see them trading down to just based off the multiple needs, and they're kind of in a little bit of I feel like a little bit of no man's land here. But they did just release their starting receiver, Marquise Lee, his name is. He's from USC back in the day. They just released him, I think, yesterday, 2 days ago. So that may open up a need for a receiver there. But I think that's a little too early, in my opinion. But we're getting there on those guys. So I'm going to stick with the corner.
All right, moving on. We got number 10 at the Cleveland Browns.
This one's kind of easy. I got Andrew Thomas here. Left tackle. These guys need, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's another team that I don't really get. Andrew Thomas from Georgia. They need a left tackle in the worst way. Again, these kind of guys are all a little bit, to me, interchangeable, but Andrew Thomas is my pick here, just to protect Mayfield, get some sense of stability, and kind of eliminate at least some of the bullshit excuses and stuff that they could do. That at least shut them the fuck up.
That's funny. So I went exactly the same thing. If you're going to give Mayfield a chance, you got to protect him. We were hard on Mayfield last year, just shutting the hell up and playing ball and all that shit. And obviously Odell Beckham and the whole circus that turned into the Browns. This time last year, man, everybody was sucking the Browns off. By the time that the season really went going, we found out what was going on. And there's a reason for that. You can have all the wide receivers and all the quarterbacks and all the running backs you want, but if you don't have offensive linemen, they can't go and they look bad. So I'm going Wills, the offensive tackle from Alabama. You picked a couple picks earlier. That's where I'm going for the Browns to protect Mayfield.
Yep. All right. Now we got
the fighting Nick Perone's coming up at number 11.
Here we come, baby. Now this again, I don't know. I don't know if they do need a corner, but there's no corners here. I don't think they need a lot of guys. I could see an offensive lineman going here. I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy, though. I'm going wide receiver from Alabama.
This is almost ridiculous. All right, go ahead.
They did spend some money on the offensive line this summer. I don't know if anybody's, wowing me. I don't know if they had some need. I'm not sure that was the biggest need, but they don't have any receivers on. They lost Robbie Anderson. The other dude, Quincy, what's his name, is concussion purgatory. Jerry Jeudy to me is the best out of these very good receivers. Give Darnold a chance. Let's, they got a running back. Let's give him a receiver at least and see what happens. So Jerry Judy's my guy.
All right. Fair enough. I usually would go this high up. I talked to Nick Perone yesterday. He said they definitely need wide receivers, but they definitely don't need offensive tackle. I would always take the big man in this situation, but in my draft, I already went with Wirfs and Wills and Becton are already off the board. And then there's some other offensive linemen I have fallen a little bit further down. But to me right now, if you need a wide receiver and Jerry Judy's there, he's just too good to let him slip. And this could be your game breaker, really, to help your quarterback out for years to come. These two guys can hook up. So I'm going with Jeudy from Alabama as well.
Yep, I'm on the same thought process there.
All right, moving on. We'll go to the Raiders. First year in Las Vegas. Might be playing in front of nobody. Might be playing in front of somebody. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, right. This one could have went a lot of different ways. I'm not sure what Chucky's thinking over there. I went with Isaiah Simmons. I know they just released their leading tackler from last year. They're pretty solid. They had a better year than I thought. We thought they would have. They could go receiver, I'm sure. Their offensive line is okay. I think their running back situation's all right. Tight end, they probably need this way too high. Safety they took last year. So, Isaiah Simmons, like we said, he's going to go sideline to sideline for you. Just all three or four He can play all three downs, obviously. So I think this is a good pick. Not trying not to use the word safe because he's a baller, but kind of a safe, and they need what he's bringing to the table.
Right. Also, like I said, I took Simmons a little earlier. That would be a good fit there with the Raiders. But I'm thinking about John Gruden. I'm thinking about Antonio Brown. I'm thinking about the Raiders always pick like the skill player in this situation. Hardly ever go for a solid defender or a solid offensive lineman. I think Gruden always is going to look for an offensive guy. I think their GM just wants to get that Antonio Brown thing behind him and get a new wide receiver to come in there and be a game changer. I'm going with CeeDee Lamb, the Oklahoma wide receiver in this spot.
I mean, I could certainly see that. The Raiders, who knows? Like I said, they are probably the biggest, off the wall wild card in this whole thing. But I could see that. Like I said, I did mention probably receiver, but I get it.
Right. All right, moving on. The Niners obviously had a great year last year. They have 2 picks in the first round. Have some issues all over the place. Just making up. I think defensive backs, maybe some defensive help, linebacker, tackle. They got a few ways they can go. Who you go here with at the 13th pick, Webb?
They're pretty strong in the interior, both offensive line, defensive line. Their linebackers are okay. I could see going defensive backer. I think it's a little too early. I think, to me, when I look at them, their offense isn't too scary. So I think they need some receiver help. That's why I went with CeeDee Lamb here in this spot.
All right, good pick. I had Henderson, the cornerback from Florida, in this spot. I didn't pick him earlier, so I had him still sitting there. I think he's probably, other than the kid from Ohio State, he's probably the best and only other. Maybe I got another one coming up later, but one of the top cornerbacks in the draft. And I think he can help out. Obviously, we saw that's really cost him the game last year. The dude, what's the cornerback that came over from Seattle to the Niners last year? Really just too slow to play cornerback anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, shit talking, smack talking, but plays some zone, drops
Sherman.
Back in the zone. Yeah, Richard Sherman. Obviously, that was the big play late in the game. They finally got him matched up on an actual receiver that was out of the scheme. And he had to lock up on a man-to-man. He's just not fast enough to do that anymore. So I thought a young cornerback in this position, maybe go there and learn from him a little bit, would be a good pickup for the Niners.
Yeah, I can hear. I currently see it as well. They did a good job kind of hiding that last year. I don't think that was their biggest Achilles heel, but certainly they will be drafting a corner, I would think. And like I said, it's similar to the offensive tackles. Once you get to that second round, there's probably 3 or 4 or 5 of them corners that are almost interchangeable. So I think they will get some corner help, but just not yet.
All right. So moving on, Webb, number 14, we got breaking news. Breaking news. Yeah. Just came across the board.
Crazy.
Just came across the board as the show was starting today. The Gronk man is going to Tampa.
I love it. Everyone's upset. I'm not a Brady hater or a Patriot hater. I don't have too much interaction with them. So if I was, I'm not a Jet fan either. So I get the hate. I'm all for this. It makes total sense. It's almost a big fuck you to Belichick, to me. Both, let's come down here and show them what we can do. I do think that the coronavirus situation may have helped us, just in that Gronk's got really nothing to do. If there was no coronavirus, he'd be headlining the WWE. And I'm not even kidding. I think he won a championship like the other day. So I think that kind of helps him. Brady probably called him and say, listen, shit's not going to be back to normal anyway. Just fucking come down here. We'll stick it in. Camp is going to be fucked up. You're not going to just show up on September 6th. I'll hit you down the middle. You run over some guys, a couple touchdowns. Next thing you know, we're back in early February. So I like it. Good for them. I got no, down feeling. I think they think that division is kind of open. To me, they're probably still the third best team probably in that division, but we'll see.
I think it's interesting. Like you said, what happens? So let's say they don't play. Let's say they sign Gronk for money. They pay him $10 million, whatever he's supposed to get this year, and then they don't play. What happens?
There's got to be language in the contract. I'm sure he's going to get something, but he won't get everything. I'm just sure there's language in there. And they had to trade for him, so there was something. I don't even know what goes on with that.
I think they still have to pay his contract, whatever it is.
Yeah. So I had something to do with it too. So my pick here, I didn't know. I don't think offensively they're in a decent shape. I'm sure there was they probably promised Brady some shit with the stuff he didn't have in New England. I'm thinking that's why my first thought is offensive line. They running back doesn't seem to be too important. They do have those receivers, which are badass. They did have O.J. Howard, so they had a decent tight end. Now Gronk is there. Defense, they have a couple linemen. They had that dude Barrett who had, I don't know, a bazillion sacks. So I was thinking going safety here, but I kind of backed that down. I went to Becton, the tackle from Louisville, to kind of just make sure Brady can just kind of eat a sandwich back there and do his thing.
Right. We're on the same man. I'm really kind of impressed by this situation. I mean, we don't have the same players all the time, but it's the same thing. And I swear to God, we didn't discuss this, nothing. We just said, listen, come to the show, come to the show, have a draft ready and that. So I'm the same boat. I think they have amazing receivers, especially you add Gronk to it now. They don't need any weapons. I think defensively they got stout front seven.
Right.
They give the Saints fits at times, and so why not protect the man? So I go the offensive tackle out of Georgia, Thomas is who I picked in this one.
Yep. I mean, again, it just makes a lot of sense, and that's the 43-year-old quarterback. You probably almost have to do this, especially with the weapons they have.
And let me go on the record. I want to go on record right now as saying that, I've always respected Tom Brady and I think Gronkowski's kind of a goofball, but you got to respect what he does on the field. He's an amazing player. Tom Brady, amazing, best ever. I'll say it right now. I don't care if Saints fans can bitch and moan, whatever. Anybody can bitch and moan. Tom Brady's the best quarterback of all time. But you know what? I'm going to love to hate those motherfuckers this year as a Saints fan. I can't wait for them guys to come in Dome and whoop their ass. You got that? Good.
All right. We'll see.
Right. The Maker's Mark is starting to.
There you go. See that? A little bit better now. It's funny how that works.
Can you hear that? The rocks. I got some rocks going on.
There you go.
All right. I'm gonna love to hate these bastards. How about that? It doesn't mean I don't respect, but I'm gonna love to hate Tampa.
Yep.
They're wearing a different uniform. They're in my division. They're not going to come in here and push me around my whole life like they did the Jets.
Yeah.
We got a lot of Jets fans. We had our buddy Jeff Plasinski text us the other day. Now he's a big Jets fan. Yeah, he's a big Jets fan. He lives in Tampa, and he said, "Look, I was hoping to root for the hometown team. What can I do now? All of a sudden, you got Tom Brady and Gronkowski coming down here."
Just got a text from Nick Barone. He said, "Average at best, Tampa Bay next year, maybe 8-8, 7-9."
There you go. Is he listening live or what? What the fuck? What the hell's going on?
I don't know. That's a coincidence, I guess. I don't know. I told Jeff, hop on that bandwagon, baby. You're gonna, but he's sniffing the playoffs.
Be better off running with Tom Brady and Gronk than the Jets.
The Jets, damn right.
Shit. All right. So that's what I got. I got Tom. We both went offensive lineman, protect the man, and he will pay dividends. Especially they got great Evans and the other young receiver they got over there and Gronkowski. Man, it's gonna be
Godwin. Yeah, they're good.
They're gonna be tough. Yep. Okay, moving on. Denver Broncos. What you got?
15. I was thinking I could have went a couple different ways here. I'm not sold on their quarterback, but they're not picking a quarterback here. Their offensive line is sketchy. Those guys are almost done. And then I think they lost a couple of corners. They did keep their safety. I'm not going to go corner here. And lineman, I'm going to go Henry Ruggs. I'm going wide receiver. They need something to get the guy the ball. They need something. Need some help.
Listen, man. You looking at my paper?
I can't see. I know. I don't know.
So, yeah, they got their quarterback, Andrew Locke, right?
Yes. Drew Locke.
Right. They got Drew Locke. They got their quarterback last year. He got some time. He showed. I don't know if he's the long term, but is Missouri? That's one of Brad Bohannon's boys.
He's
but showed pretty good. He came out. They were stinking. He came out, won a couple games.
Yep.
So what do? You give him a weapon. Right. Ruggs from Alabama. Unbelievable.
Did you see that dude? You see the shit from him in high school? Duncan? No. Unbelievable. He was looking like fucking Dr. J. Yeah, crazy.
All right, now we're going to move on to the dirty fucking birds right now.
This is a 1-2. I could have went a couple different ways. I was thinking corner. I think that's probably too high here. So offensive line, they did that. They blew that up. They did 2 years ago. That's one of the reasons why I picked them last year. I think they had 2 first-round picks or first and second-round pick from offensive line. They did get rid of the running back. They cut him, but I don't know that really matters. They still have the quarterback and the receiver. Their defense kind of let them down. So I'm going with K'Von Chaisson, defensive end from LSU, to the Dirty Birds.
Good pick, Webb. That's a good pick.
Could be another. My alternate was I thought maybe a corner Henderson, but he's gone. And the other one was Kinlaw from South Carolina, but I went with the pass.
Funny, I got
pass rusher.
I'd written down like I was going to make a little funny joke and be like, oh, I'm picking Braden Mann, the punter from Texas A&M. since it's the Falcons, I was going to screw him over and take a punter. But since we're having some kind of wager now, but I took the LSU outside linebacker pass rusher guy, Chason, the same guy you got. Oh, this is unbelievable.
Wow,
unbelievable.
That's a shock.
Unbelievable.
Wow. I mean, how many's not the same? Probably
a lot, man. A lot. And even the ones that we didn't pick the same, we got like the same position.
That's right. All right, we're coming up to Big D.
I think we're about to pick the same player right now. You just mentioned him.
I bet you I wouldn't. No, I went a different. I had Kinlaw on there. I had Xavier McDaniel on there, or McKinney, whatever his name is. I had Grant Telpett there for a minute. But I'm gonna kind of go. I'm going with the dude Zach Baun, the outside linebacker, kind of from Wisconsin, just based on the production. They need someone to sack the quarterback. And I like they need more of this type of guy. Not that I don't know. He just kind of stuck. I could see. I don't know that the Cowboys are going to do this unless they're forced to, but that's my pick for them. I could certainly see. I wouldn't mind Kinlaw, and I wouldn't mind McKinney either, or even Delpit to be honest with you. But I'm going with Zach Baun from Wisconsin.
Right. So originally I was thinking they really need some pass rush help for their boy. What's that? DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yep.
That's your man up there. So when I put the punter in for Atlanta as a joke, that meant that my boy Chason dropped down to you guys. I thought it was going to be a great, two sides pass rush. But since I really took Atlanta with Chason, which is going to hurt the LSU players here LSU fans here to have to root for him in Atlanta, I did take Kinlaw, the defensive tackle from South Carolina. I thought he could eat up some blockers and help your boy Lawrence out anyway.
They did. They signed McCoy and Dontari Poe. Not that they're both older. They do. I could certainly see Kinlaw. I wouldn't be upset with it. I had Chason, but I would take him, but he's going to be gone. And then they did sign. I don't know if you saw. They signed Aldon Smith, the Cowboys. Crazy motherfucker, whatever, got arrested for a bomb at an airport. And then they also have Randy Gregory coming back, but you can't count on either one of those guys. So I'm with you. And I wouldn't mind seeing them taking either Delpit or McKinney to safeties either. So I went a lot different ways. It's a little bit weird for me just because it's my team, but I think Zach Baun can, 3-down player, stay on the field and provide both that some help at linebacker, which they regress, and then also sack the quarterback as well. So.
All right, moving on. We got the Dolphins. We both had them taken Tua early. Who do you have here with the Dolphins at the 18th pick, Webb?
I didn't really know what to do with them here. They could do. I mean, I think Kinlaw might be even a fit here, but you're going to draft a quarterback. I have them drafting the left tackle. I know they traded their left tackle to the Texans. I had them taking Joshua Jones. This is one of my guys I have some money on here. Again, same thing. You need a left tackle to protect the quarterbacks for your next 10, 12 years. So from Joshua Jones from Houston. So that's my pick here. Although they could have went a couple different ways.
All right. Well, I went a totally different way. Probably didn't see this one coming. Webb, you got the Miami Dolphins. The poor guys, they got crushed last year. They get crushed every year. Finally got Tom Brady leaving their division. This team impressed me last year in that they started out the season early. I remember early in the year, you could say, man, they're the worst team in the NFL, probably the worst team.
I was thinking they were going to go 0-16
years. Right. There was even talk of that. Like, who's going to, is one team going to go undefeated? One team's never going to win.
Right.
There was bets in that in Vegas and everything. But this team hung together. They hung with their coach. They kept playing hard. They played hard. They got a few wins down the stretch, and actually were a tough out even when they were out. If you're a GM, sometimes when you're picking players, you also have to think about butts in the seats. I know it's a little different now with the Corona V going on. COVID. I'm sorry. I'm more smart than that.
You're a doctor now, PhD.
It's COVID-19.
Right.
COVID-19. With the COVID-19 going on, you still got to think about butts in the seats and getting your fan base excited. I can think of nothing more exciting than to have Tua and Swift come in as your 1-2 punch quarterback and running back. The kid from Georgia, super exciting, dynamic. Man, you got all of a sudden your fan base is going wild, Webb, running wild. I'm
Yeah,
going with Swift. I'm going with Swift, the running back from the Miami Dolphins.
DeAndre Swift's not like he's, it's not Herschel Walker back there. I get it. I mean, he's good, but I can see what you're thinking. They could go almost anywhere except I think probably corner and receiver. So I get it. I just went offensive line, and they got to protect whoever's back there, even though especially with Tua. So I went offensive line. I get it. Did they get rid of their running back too? They got rid of Drake, I think, right?
I don't know if they got rid of him or not. It just
He ain't nothing anyway.
I mean, you're trying to get some excitement, trying to drum up some excitement. Let's think like a GM, Webb.
All right.
You also got to drum up some excitement.
Gotcha.
All right, we're moving on. We got the Raiders at 19.
All right, I'm back to thinking what you thought last time. I went with Justin Jefferson, wide receiver from LSU. I don't know even who the wide receivers are on the Raiders. They got the one guy, Williams, I think, who's okay. Somebody got from the Chargers who had a good year. They need someone opposite him. Again, like you said, they love to bomb the ball down the field, the old Al Davis Raiders. So I went with probably the best receiver left, Jefferson.
All right. I'm going defensive back. I'll let just everything I said about Gruden and everybody picking offensive and flashy players. I just went Clemson, the AJ Terrell, the defensive back, cornerback from Clemson. Yep. I went right there.
I could see that.
Moving on to the Jags, Webb.
This is another one that's kind of weird. I mean, they had these two here. I don't know. I went probably, I think, the best player available inside, Javon Kinlaw. I went with here. Kind of, they have issues with that defensive end. Who knows if he's going to stay there or not? If he does, that could be a little bit of a formidable thing. That defensive end, Yak, whatever his name is, and Kinlaw. And then coupled with their first pick, I think maybe at least defense. You can start with defense, keep him in the game, and let Dirk Diggler do his thing. A couple field goals and 24-21, 21-17 ball games.
Right. So we talked earlier about the Jags. I thought that Simmons, the linebacker from Clemson, was too good to let go. So I picked him. And then this time, I just remember Minshew running around for his life all year last year. Mm-hmm. So I went with an offensive tackle in this spot. Went with Jones, the offensive tackle from Houston.
I could see that too. I get that. That makes sense to me. So I get it.
I love my draft, Webb. I wish I could go out and play with these guys. I don't know. These guys, I might have to start teaching them a little something.
There you go.
I'm
Fill
sorry,
it up, baby.
People at Makers, I'm sorry that I badmouthed you earlier.
No, that's right. Now it's delicious.
But now I'm too far away from the refrigerator. I would like to add a little more ice to this, but
I can't
I'm just going to roll with it. I'm just going to roll with it.
Where's the intern?
Yeah. All right. Moving on. The Todd Lewises, the Fighting Todd Lewises and the Eagles coming up.
The hated, disgusting Eagles. They're pretty solid. I mean, they signed a corner. They got good D linemen. Their offensive line is good. It looks like they need some receiver help. Last year they were down to practice squad players and beat the fucking Cowboys disgracefully. So I went with Laviska Shenault Jr. from Colorado, wide receiver.
All right. I don't have him on my board, but we're on the same page. I went with the LSU man, Jefferson at wide receiver.
Yeah, I could see that happen easily if it doesn't play out. Yeah, I could certainly see that. But again, Same page.
Same page. All right, moving on. The Vikings at number 22.
I got two spots for them here. I'm thinking either corner. They just lost, I think, both of their two corners. Trey Waynes and then Xavier Rhodes. I think they're both gone. They do need a corner. But they also lost Stephon Diggs. So I kind of a toss up here between Clemson guys. I went T. Higgins,
the wide receiver
from Clemson.
That's funny. And that's funny because not right now, but you're going to find out 4 or 5 picks from now when the Vikings pick again. Why that's funny. That's right. All right. So, okay. I like that pick obviously, because when I pick him at 25, I think Higgins is there.
I have at 25.
Right. I'm going Antoine Winfield, Jr. His dad was one of the badass cornerbacks that I remember seeing playing. Just a tough, hard-nosed dude. He played a lot of years at Minnesota, and I actually had him going a pick or two up. But when I saw him, when I saw the Vikings were a pick or two down, I kind of changed my draft around just to have him go where his dad played at for a long time. I thought it would be cool. So I'm going Antoine.
Minnesota.
Right.
That's
right. Yeah, University of Minnesota. So Antoine Winfield, he plays a little bit of safety, a little bit of cornerback, and I think they need help at all those spots. So I'm gonna pick him. He's a little undersized, but man, this kid played really good for that Minnesota team that was really good for us last year.
Yeah, they were real good to us till the end of the year.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I like him. I don't think he's better than the other two safeties. I would have went different. I don't mind the picked position. I like McKinney and Delpit better, but just a little bit. But again, it makes total sense.
Right. Moving on, the big bad Patriots, man. They lost the Gronk, man. They lost Tom Brady. What do you think about this?
It's funny. This team went to the Super Bowl, and it's they can almost where don't they need somebody? It's kind of what position don't they need? Maybe defensive backfield is the one position they don't need. But having said all that, I mean, it could go a bunch of different ways. They're not the best drafters in the first round, it doesn't seem like. But I went with Jordan Love, quarterback, just to kind of see, just to get something. They need a quarterback. There's no doubt. So.
Okay, from this point on, I'm going to be picking first.
Okay. Why? You don't want to pick? You want me picking?
No, because I took Love to go to the quarterback for the Patriots. That's why.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Well, we're going to be different here. This one's going to be different for sure.
When we get to the Saints?
Yeah.
All right, so I took Love, the quarterback, to go to the Patriots, take over for Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But I could see I would be really hurt if it gets all the way to here. I love the player that I have picking for the Saints here in a second. And I would hate to see, he's the kind of guy that would really work good in the Patriots, I think. And I would hate to see him go there. But go ahead. Who do you have picking for 24 for the Saints, Webb?
The Saints, I don't know what they really need either. They just signed a receiver. They got a running back. They tight end is always a fucking spot for them. So maybe I don't know if they're going to draft a tight end here. There's not really nobody this year. Defensive line, they're pretty good. Linebackers, they're good. So I'm into the secondary. They got rid of, what's his name? The kid from Ohio State, but not that he played that well either. And then they get Jack Rabbit, Janoris Jenkins. And then they brought in the dude from the Eagles, Malcolm Jenkins. But I stuck in the defensive backfield. I went Xavier McKinney from just kind of the best player available. It's something that's a need for them.
All right, cool. I did not pick.
I didn't think so.
Yeah. But before we get started, I got to move. I bought I just got it in the mail today. Look, it's even got the stickers. Got the stickers on there still. This is like that draft day.
The draft hat. Yeah.
I gave Gail Benson just even $27.99 more of my dollars. I mentioned before, I paid like $5,000 for my 4-season tickets. So if they don't play this year, Gail Benson is into me for $5,027.99.
How about the Jets deferring? Jets are deferring their season ticket holders. That's a nice hat.
Good hat. I like it because I'm a fathead hat wearing backwards dude. It's got the NFL. It's got the NFL logo there. All right. So Webb, with the 24th pick in the NFL draft, the New Orleans Saints select Kenneth Murray, linebacker from Oklahoma.
That's a good pick. Yeah, he's good.
Love this kid. Yeah. And this is going to make a lot of LSU people mad. The Saints get blasted every year because they don't pick LSU players. They're such homers. They want to see. They think everybody should be on.
Patrick Queen could go. I mean, yeah.
Well, Queen is basically plays the same position, and so it was a toss-up. But I really like this Murray. I just think this Murray kid's a little better.
I like him too. I get it. I think it's a good.
They lost AJ Klein. They still have Kiko Alonso, and
they got Demarius. What's his name?
Yeah, well, he's a beast. He's a beast.
So that's what I'm saying.
So this guy, another guy running around in the linebacker crew, really would be. There's no real, other than that kid from Penn State, there's no real pass rushers left that you could try and get on the end to help Cam Jordan out a little bit. So I'm going with this linebacker, Kenneth Murray from Oklahoma. I think he'd be a great fit.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's not a stretch. I get it.
All right. Pick number 25, the Vikings.
You want to go?
Yeah, well, I already said. You said they needed a wide receiver a few picks ago, and you picked T. Higgins. Well, he was still there now, so I'm taking T. Higgins.
All right,
wide receiver from Clemson.
Same thought process. You went corner. I'm going corner. Trayvon Diggs, cornerback from Alabama.
That's hilarious. All right, moving on. The Dolphins.
They kind of need anything but receiver and corner. I think I went with the offensive tackle. I'm going with Patrick Queen. Similar thought process. The guy running sideline to sideline, making tackles for them. Maybe Kenneth Murray, I still have on the board. I could see him going here too. Just a real good linebacker, similar to the couple of guys like Devin Bush last year, a couple of those guys. So that's what I thought about. I know they were talking about him last year. So Patrick Queen's my guy, linebacker.
Okay, good pick. The Dolphins, I already said, they picked up Tua, they picked up Swift. I thought they got some holes, but I think they have a decent enough defense. But I'm going with the lineman this time to help those guys out. They got that center/guard. He can play all three interior positions from Michigan, Ruiz. So I went with him. He can play both guards and center and really solidify the inside of that offensive line to help these guys out. So
that's solid too. But there's similar guys to him you can get, I think, next pick. But good, I get it. It makes sense too.
All right, number 27, the Seahawks.
It seems like these guys are always dying for some defensive linemen. So I think the best one, I'm not the biggest fan of that Gross Matos guy. So I went with Marlon Davidson from Auburn, defensive end. He was like one of the biggest high school recruits that year. Ton of production, just gets overshadowed by Derek Brown. But again, end of the first round. This guy's kind of a tweener, first, second round guy. They need help at the position, and I don't think they can go wrong. There's a couple other guys I thought about, Kenneth Murray being one of them. Maybe even a running back here, but Marlon Davidson's my guy.
Well, I'm on the same boat. I picked the Mattis guy from Penn State, the defensive end. Without Clowney's gone. They'll need some help on the defensive line, some edge rushing. I'm going with Mattis, the defensive end from Penn State. Go on to the Ravens.
Ravens in the the Ray Lewis vein. Their defensive team, I think their offense is pretty much set. I would think they're gonna stick to the defensive side of the ball. They do have the secondary down. So I went Kenneth Murray, the linebacker from Oklahoma, the guy he picked for the Saints. Just one of these guys, sideline to sideline, similar to Queen, kind of interchangeable, I think. I thought Queen would better fit for Miami, so I'm going with Kenneth Murray for the Ravens.
All right, for the Ravens, I picked. I think they need some defensive line help, like you said. I'm going with the defensive end, AJ Espinosa, the defensive end from Iowa. Thinking there. So moving on, we'll go to the Titans.
Titans, I'm on that same type of defensive end type thing. This is where I went with the Gross Matos kid from Penn State. He's same thing, kind of a tweener, late second, early first. These are the picks here. These next couple, you may see him trading. I don't know if someone's going to want to come up, but there's really no difference between these guys, picking 28th, 29th and picking, 38th, 39th. So I group these guys all the kind of same, but I think you just they're running out of defensive ends. So I went with the Gross Matos.
All right, cool. Where we at? The Titans. I went give a little offensive line help to their man up there. What's the quarterback's name that came for the Dolphins that did a good job? They did have a nice season. Tannehill. They had a nice season. Really came on strong late. Why not give him an offensive tackle help? Going with that Austin Jackson. He's an offensive tackle out of USC.
That's not a bad pick. I think they lost one of their guys, one of their tackles. So that does make some sense. And again, they were in the AFC Championship. They're thinking they're pretty close.
Right. And already you got Derrick Henry pounding the rock, man. Why not throw another big bad offensive tackle in there?
Yeah, no, I get it.
All righty, moving on. Number 30, the Packers.
I could have went a couple different ways here with them. I think they lost. They lost a couple of receivers. They don't really have too many receivers. Receivers could go here. I don't know if there's anybody worthy of the spot. And then I thought maybe defensive back. It's one of these teams that are pretty good, but it seems like they could always use some help somewhere. It just shows you what a quarterback does for you. But I went, it seems like tight end has been a hole for them forever. They tried to plug it with some free agent guys. It never works out. So I went with Cole Kmet from Notre Dame at tight end.
He's a good one. I don't have any tight ends going in the first round, but I like the kid from Notre Dame. I think he's the one that made that big catch in a bowl game like 2 years ago against LSU. Kind of caught it. It was like an overtime game or something, and just caught it, went right down the sideline, or maybe it was heading to overtime or something. But I remember him heading down the sideline, real muddy track against LSU. But anyway, for the Packers, speaking of LSU, I think this Queen kid, the linebacker, is just too good to continue to fall. And so whether they need an inside linebacker or not, it's just time to take Queen off the board. And I went with him with the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like you said, it's just somebody who's good that's left. And that again, he can't hurt. They did lose Blake Martinez. I think the Giants signed him, so they do need somebody in the middle. That may be a decent pick. I also thought safety here, Delpit or even your Winfield kid. So, but tight end, I think it's been kind of a black hole for them for a while.
All right, moving on. We got the 49ers again.
In the same vein, we talked about their secondary, like we said. So I did go safety. I went Grant Delpit here, LSU. They could go corner here, one of those, maybe even Kristen Fulton, somebody like that. But I think safety, that'll help him out deep there. So Grant Delpit has that range. I think he had a down year. This year he was better probably in 2018 and 2019. But I think he's got a huge ceiling. So great value, 31.
Cool. Funny. I got Delpit going at safety as well. Safety for LSU at the Niners as well.
That's crazy.
All right. Yeah. All right. Last pick, 32, Kansas City, Super Bowl champs. Won us a lot of money last year.
They did.
Who we got?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you could go lineman here. I don't know, maybe center. They don't really have a running back, so I went DeAndre Swift. I'm not sure that they value the position as much. This may be one of the ones that I changed, but they don't really need. I thought corner, but they re-signed Breeland. They brought him back. I know they drafted a safety last year. Linebacker may be a spot. I don't know if there's anybody worthy here. So again, Swift, just talking value. They don't really have anybody for the position. But I went with the running back.
All right. Fair enough. That was great. Okay. So I got for Kansas City, you picked running back. I picked running back. I just picked a different one. I had Swift going earlier. I think Swift is probably fits their style a little more than my guy, but I had Swift going earlier to the Dolphins. I'd like J.K. Dobbins, the running back from Ohio State here, but maybe he'll give him a little bit of physical nature that they might need to help out. So
yeah, he's a little bit more between. Yeah, Swift is more the home run hitter type thing. But again, it does make sense. Again, I don't know that they value the position that much. I don't know how many times he runs the ball, a game to justify a first round pick on a running back. But they, Super Bowl champs, it's hard to find something. So. Right.
And just going back to Delpit real quick, the kid from LSU, Coach O the other day said like he the best safety he's coached since Palomalo from the Steelers.
USC. Yeah.
Because O was I think a defensive coordinator or something like that under Lane Kiffin or something with Palomalo back there. Or maybe it was might have even before that. Yeah. So, but he was an assistant coach at USC. So, all right, man. Hopefully we play some football. Hopefully I don't have to go after Gail Benson for $5,027.99. This was a long show. Thank you guys for holding it in there.
It was.
Hopefully
you got a lot to talk about.
Hopefully you got a lot of info. It didn't get too boring. You're looking forward to your team playing. What else you got for today, Webb? Anything?
Just a couple of things. But we got those winners for you. So that's signed up. Just pay attention to early to show. We'll get you.
I'm going to run them down real quick.
Check. And then, but 6 uniform changes in the NFL. So this other thing I had written down here. Chargers, Bucks, Pats, Falcons, Colts, and Browns all have at least some change to their uniform, which I think is interesting. I don't know if that's a comment. I wonder if that had anything to do with COVID-19 or what. And it just makes a ton of sense too for the New England to kind of do that, just to kind of change the era. So just interesting.
Right. We'll see. Them Falcons, some sorry ass dirty birds. They got the ATL. It doesn't even say Atlanta. It doesn't say the Falcons. It says ATL. It should say the ATL on them. No, but I can't tell you how much I dislike Falcons and Falcons fans. Can't tell you.
Yeah. I don't know if I know a Falcon fan.
Well, I see them here. I get them.
No, I got it. I got you.
So, yeah, hopefully this all goes well, but maybe you can listen to the show, compare our picks, but please go on the NFL.com. I'm going to put the link up there. Hopefully Nick Perone is working on this, the technical guy, to make sure that this is worked out. And then you guys can go to the link that I'm going to put up there, and you can battle with us and see how you did against our picks. And if you win, we'll send you some gifts.
There you go. That wager maker swag.
All right. Real quick, I want to thank John Grove for the bumper music. And then don't forget all the stuff we usually say. TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, Apple Podbean, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Facebook, The Wager Makers Podcast, Twitter at The Wager Makers, Instagram at The Wager Makers, TheWagerMakers@gmail.com. If you want to email us any questions. It's been great. Thank you, Mark Gollins, George Burge, Megan Conover, all kinds of people from Freehold reached out to us last week. It was like great. I think we're going to have Herm Swartzer on the show soon, maybe next week. And it's been great. Thank you for reaching out. And don't forget what Devin says about YouTube. And thank you all for listening. Have a great draft. Hey, man, have a little glass of Makers. It wears on you after a little while. At first, it's a little rough, but after a little while, it goes down a little smoother. And enjoy the draft, man. It's the closest thing to normal life that we can have. Thank you all for listening. Webb, take us out.
Brick by brick, baby. We're getting there. Draft is there. Some real gambling. More important, thank you, everybody, for listening. What's a bit of a longer show. We'll be back next week with our commentary on the draft, and then obviously we'll see who got the swag. And more important than ever, listen to Devin. We need subscriptions, likes, whatever. And then also please do the NFL.com and let's see how we did on the draft. Make some money too.
Yeah, especially that YouTube channel, man. Get on there. Let's get this shit going. Maker's Mark.
That's
Good
it.
for you. We're trying to get some sponsorships.
Equals winners. That's right. Tell a friend to tell a
Maker's
friend.
Marks for winners.